Hey, so in this video, we're going to have a look at building our initial template, our index template. And this is the default template that will serve the content across your entire site, or at least most of the pages and posts that are created. So this is the default one. As such, this needs to have the header and the footer on there. And I'm going to show you how to create the header component, although we'll cover component creation later on in some other more in-depth videos, and we'll look at how to add props and then dynamic props. But in this video, we're going to create the header component and add that to our initial template. Also, in other Etch videos where they say, hey, where they show us how to create a header component and things like that, it doesn't really show how to actually do the nav. Which is totally fine. It was about creating the header component, but we're going to include that in this one because it's something I was looking for. And that's what I really want to do with these initial Learn Etch videos is where I felt there was a little bit of a difficulty in finding some information. I just want to put it out there and contribute to the cause, essentially. Okay, so I'm currently in the home page, which is where we left the last video, which was an Etch interface tour. Now, the cool thing with Etch is that you don't really have to leave Etch, which is fantastic. So what I want to do here is pop along to templates, and you see the template layout. Now, in the interface tour, I created a custom post type using Etch. And so that exists here, but otherwise on a fresh install, you're going to see miscellaneous pages and posts and then taxonomies in terms of columns. The one that we want to do here is edit and create the index template. And again, as I said before, this provides the default for all of the other custom post types. Now, I understand, I saw this on a tutorial video from Kevin Geary, but I understand that if you create custom post types before, it might have a bit of difficulty in applying to those. I installed Etch on a site that already had post types on it, and then there was a bit of difficulty having the default apply to those. But yeah, bit of jiggling, and it did all work out. So I think that in terms of workflow, it's best to create this before you start getting the rest of the structural elements of your website in place. So that's what we're going to do now. So click on edit, and what you see up here is the main container. And this might not make a lot of sense to some people who don't understand about the different components of elements, different sections of a template. So let's go to CodePen and we'll have a little look here. We don't need that. So in an HTML document, most simply, you would have the head, and then you would have the body. But then within the body, in terms of like the most basic setup, you would have the header, which is a section of it in and of itself. Then you would have the main, and then you'd have the footer. Right, so now when we go to the index template, this is what we can see, the main container. And obviously what we want to add is the header and the footer. So the main container has this slot in it, and if you ever want to add a slot, it's there. And the slot is how you inject different content or elements into the page. In this instance, post content brings in the content of the page. So this might be what you create in the Gutenberg editor in a page or a post. So in the main content, we would have post content. That's going to be there. That's going to inject that into our template. So this is really important. After that, though, we need to create the header, obviously. So this is a section. So here is a nice section, and we need to change the tag of that to header. That's important for our HTML there. Now, I should point out the Etch documentation shows us how to do this. It's really good documentation. I say that, where the smag is it? Basic nav, there we are. It does say, yeah, create a header component for your site header if you don't already have one. Add a slot. This is how to add the actual nav. But I just want you to see this process. This is where you'd want to go to start getting this together. So we are creating a header section so far, and then we've got the container. In the container, we want to add the SVG, and we're going to have an Etch default there, which is cool. Drag that into place. And then I like to actually have a div where I put, header content or something. So maybe I'll just put content or write or something like that. And then I would have in here the navigation. Now, just to show you this while we're getting it together, I'm going to menu here. And you can see that up there. So what we want to do is, as I explained in the last video, before you can style it, you need to add a selector, and that's what you add designs elements to, or design decisions to. So we need to create a selector. We're going to use the BEM method. So we want to name this header, and then we've got container, logo, content. I'm fine with that. Text, fine, because we were going to change the name of that anyway. And then I want to select this and click create BEM classes. And what that's done, if you look down here, we have header, header container, header logo, header content, and then header text if you're needing any. So now we can start to style this out. So the content is actually in this one. I do want this to be flex column. I just like to put that there. I would then want it to have a padding on it. Again, I use ACSS now and set all of my padding there, but that's a bit too much for my liking. But I'm assuming now that Etch has all of these defaults in here and actually has variables. Anyway, I'd like it to just be 1M at this point, and we'll hard code that in there for this demo. Now on the container, I would, oh yeah, that's the main, of course. In the container, I would like this to be a row, and I would like this to be a line center. No, I want this to be space between, there we are, and a line center. Cool. There we are. So we've got all of the different elements where we want them to be, and let's just change the background here. Cool. All right. That's nice. What if there's a box shadow in the mini GUI here? Again, not really used the mini GUI. Bizarrely, I was a little bit dismayed when it came in, because I'm like, I'm enjoying writing everything and using the keyboard again. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah. Whoa. Just so that we can really see it in play, and we've already got a default of black there, so I suppose I can leave that. Right, okay, so we've got the header there in place. Now, I believe adding a slot into this sometimes hasn't worked until I've created it as a component, and I suppose that's still the case. So I'm going to remove that, create this as a component. So create component, and then we can add a slot in. Okay, that has worked better than before. So I've now added a slot, and that's where we're going to put the nav. In the documentation, it says to call that write or whatever you want, but I call it nav, and I'm gonna leave that. Do I want to leave that? Yes, I'll remove that one. Okay, so we've got a slot nav and we've got a header component there. Right, all of that is as we need it to be, but we do need to go back to the documentation, because now we're going to get the navigation component. And this is where the create a header component Etch documentation video seemed to go a bit quiet. But they've made this really easy, and Kevin Geary does show this on longer videos, but just so you don't have to bop through a longer video, that's why I wanted to put these together. I've got the header here, and what I need to do is paste this into the slot. Oh no, I'm sorry, I've done this wrong, and that's fine. That is going to make it so that you can't actually edit it, because you have a component in a component. So this is what you need to do. You've created a header component. Make sure that you've exited. Okay, so exit, then you paste the nav component and paste it in. There we go. Let's go back to the documentation, and we're going to grab this burger component, go back to Etch and paste, and we're just going to put that in side by side. So now we have a fully working menu. Really fantastic. Now I'll take you through the basics of this quickly. As you can see, it's white, and we need to change that, so we're going to have to change the styling there to the EBEB, which should be a variable, but we're going to hard code it in a minute just as an example, so you can see where we would change it. Because I'm not editing a component, I can actually open this one. So edit component, and we're inside the nav component now. If I click on Etch Nav, we're going to see that we've got the nav background color there. So we can change this to whatever we'd like, and we are going to make it the same as the other, so as the section behind it. So that's how we would do that. Okay, cool. Next, let's have a look at what we're actually looping here. So the Etch navigation, I think it actually says it when we're out here, basic nav. You can see the name of the loop here that we have. If you remember, loops are up here, loop manager, and we've got the basic nav here, and this corresponds to the menu. Now this is a bit scary for some, I suppose, but just have a play around with it. If we delete this, this removes from the front of the site. So let's just have a quick look at that. And it's gone. So let's delete this one also. So item 3. So we can see item 3 there. Take it all the way down. And while we're here, we'll change that to about, and change this one to contact. Cool. All right, save that one out. You can see here that this is the actual URL, the relative URL. Cool, and there we have it. We have home, about, and contact. And if you look at the bottom left there, you'll see the full URL for this. Cool. All right, so that's how to create the header and the full navigation, and should be fine. I think sometimes you have to play with the Z index, which I've had to do. I would like to inquire about that with people. Cool. And next, what we do need is a footer. So I'm just going to put a quick footer together. Need to change out the tag. We've got the container there, and then let's just do a bit of text, and we'll grab another SVG in there. Cool. Now I'm happy with that as a structure right now, so I'm going to create the BEM classes, and we'll center all of this up, I suppose. So like that, and proudly made with Etch. Okay, cool. So we need to chuck a bit of a gap there. Content gap, that will do. Happy days. Nice, and a bit of padding as well. Again, I'm not used to having this mini GUI. Yeah, that's good. And we're going to save that. So now, if I create that as a component, we've got that forever. And save. And look at that. We've we've got all of the different elements for our main template now, which is header, main container, with the post content slot in there, and then the footer. Goody good. Okay, clicking on this, we can see it on the front end. Home. Let's quickly add something into that. Content hub, homepage, and I did have a demo header, hero going on. So, whoa. I know I shouldn't use a pixel value. Cool. All right. Just so that we can see. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, yeah. There we are. And they can see that the actual it's applying to an actual page. So this is the home page. We've got a header with a full navigation. This is what we're going to play with later on, and then we've got the footer there on the bottom. So that's how to create your initial index template with your header and the footer and the navigation, and we'll move forward to other things soon. All right, let's crack on. Bye.